In the dawn of a new century, amidst the steel and stone canyons of New York, two titans of history stood on opposing shores of destiny. One, a visionary who dreamt of giving free energy to the world. The other, a financier who built empires on the currency of power. This is the story of Nikola Tesla and J.P. Morgan, a battle of light against gold, of a boundless future against the unyielding present. The year is 1901. The air in New York crackles not just with ambition, but with electricity. Nikola Tesla, a man who seemed to pluck ideas from the very fabric of the cosmos, had a vision that would dwarf all others. In his laboratory, a wonderland of ethereal blue light and buzzing coils, he wasn't just inventing devices, he was composing a symphony of the future. He saw a world connected, not by wires, but by invisible waves carrying information, pictures, and power to every corner of the globe, freely and without limit. This was more than innovation. It was a revolution waiting to happen. Tesla believed energy was a birthright, as abundant and free as the air we breathe. He was ready to build his masterpiece, a magnificent tower that would be the first note in this global symphony. But to build a dream, even one as brilliant as Tesla's, he needed more than just genius. He needed capital. Across the city, in an office where sunlight seemed to turn to solid gold upon touching the leather-bound ledgers, sat John Pierpont Morgan. J.P. Morgan was not a man of dreams. He was a man of systems, of structures, of control. He dealt in tangibles, railroads, steel, and the intricate web of finance that held the modern world together. He understood power not as an ethereal force, but as something to be owned, metered, and sold. When Tesla, with his electrifying charisma and otherworldly ideas, presented his plan, Morgan saw an opportunity. He saw the potential for a global communications network, a way to send stock quotes across the Atlantic in an instant. This was a venture he could understand, a system he could monetize. With Morgan's initial investment of $150,000, the equivalent of millions today, Tesla's dream began to take shape on the shores of Long Island. The Wardenclyffe Tower started its slow, majestic rise towards the heavens. It was a marvel of engineering, a strange and beautiful structure designed to pierce the sky and tap into the Earth's own electrical field. For Tesla, this was the dawn of a new age. He poured every ounce of his being, every dollar of Morgan's investment, and more of his own, into its construction. He envisioned this tower as the first of many, a network that would make the world a smaller, more connected place, and ultimately, liberate humanity from the shackles of energy scarcity. He believed he was on the verge of proving that the universe held endless, clean power for all. But as the tower grew, so did Morgan's skepticism. Tesla's vision was expanding far beyond mere wireless telegraphy. He spoke of transmitting power, not just messages. Power without wires, power without meters, power that could not be controlled by any single entity. This was an idea that struck at the very heart of Morgan's world. How do you put a meter on the air? How do you charge for lightning? The financier, a master of systems and returns, saw his investment flowing not into a profitable business, but into a philanthropic fantasy. The very concept threatened the foundations of the industries he had so carefully constructed. His interest cooled, and the steady flow of capital that fed the tower's growth slowed to a trickle, and then stopped. Tesla, ever the optimist, believed the sheer magnificence of his creation would convince Morgan and the world. He pushed forward, conducting spectacular experiments that turned the night sky into a dazzling display of man-made lightning. The air for miles around his Long Island lab would hum, and strange lights would dance in the atmosphere. He was trying to show the world what was possible, to give them a glimpse of the future he saw so clearly. But to the world of finance, these were not demonstrations of progress. They were the expensive theatrics of a mad genius. Newspapers, once heralding him as a modern Prometheus, began to shift their tone. Whispers of impracticality and financial ruin began to circulate, fanned by competitors and a public wary of such radical ideas. The financial panic of 1907 was the final nail in the coffin. The world of gold and ledgers reasserted its dominance. Morgan, focused on stabilizing the collapsing American economy, had no time or money for what he now considered Tesla's folly. Tesla's frantic pleas for more funding went unanswered. He was a lone voice crying out in a storm of economic fear. The Wardenclyffe Tower, his magnificent conductor of dreams, stood incomplete, a silent monument to a future that was almost within reach. The glow in his laboratory faded. The buzz of invention was replaced by the silence of debt and despair. For years the tower stood, a skeletal sentinel overlooking the sound, a target for vandals and a symbol of a promise unfulfilled. Eventually, during World War I, it was demolished for scrap, its materials repurposed for a world at war, a world that chose conflict over connection, scarcity over abundance. Tesla, the man who had illuminated the world, would spend his remaining years in relative obscurity, his grandest vision relegated to the pages of his notebooks. He died nearly penniless in a New York hotel, the city lights outside his window powered by the very alternating current system he had pioneered, a system that had made others, not him, incredibly wealthy. So who was right? Tesla, the dreamer who saw a future of limitless free energy for all humanity? Or Morgan, the pragmatist who understood that in our world, power, in all its forms, must be controlled and accounted for? Tesla's vision was one of pure, unadulterated progress, a leap of faith into a better world. Morgan's was a world of order, of sustainable, profitable systems that, for better or worse, built the society we live in today. It was a clash between two fundamental forces, the boundless potential of the human imagination and the rigid structures of human society. The blue light of a utopian dream extinguished by the cold, hard reality of gold. The story of Tesla and Morgan is not just a tale of a forgotten genius and a powerful banker. It is a timeless allegory that continues to echo through our own era. We still stand at a crossroads, wrestling with the same fundamental questions. How do we balance innovation with investment? How do we harness the incredible power of technology for the good of all, while navigating the economic systems that govern our world? The legacy of the Wardenclyffe Tower is not just in its demolition, but in the questions it forces us to ask. It reminds us that for every brilliant idea, there is a complex reality, and the future is not simply invented. It is negotiated, it is funded, and sometimes, tragically, it is lost. The dream of a world connected, of clean and abundant energy, did not die with Tesla. It lives on, waiting for new visionaries and perhaps a new kind of investor to finally bring the light.